All right, third time hopefully is a charm here. Audio might be working. We shall see. All right, it does seem like people can hear me now. All right, weird. Yeah, it's got to be somewhere in between OBS and YouTube. Sometimes my computer just gets confused and it just decides it doesn't want to listen into it anymore. Because I can see my audio, I can see my microphone going into OBS, it looks fine, nothing there changes. And then the only way to fix it that I know of is to reset OBS, which crashes the stream. So again, I apologize about that. I'm looking into it. I've been trying to figure out what's happening. Most of the streams I've been doing so far have had no issues, and every once in a while it just decides to do it. Yeah, Rev, get some sleep, get some rest. It's good for you. It'll make you feel healthy, feel better. I need some sleep too, but I appreciate you stopping by. Zach, how are you doing tonight? Or afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Now I wonder if it has something to do with Maxforlive and Max doing something weird to my audio and messing my mic up, but I can't imagine that would be the case. All right, well, in that case, I'm just terrified of Max doing something crazy. Sweet. Well, anybody got any questions, any topics, any things that they want to go over? Questions? Anything like that? Also, if for you guys in the chat, if you happen to be here, I am always looking for ideas on how I can make the channel better and the community better. So if you have ideas for topics for videos you'd like to see in the future, or you want longer, more in-depth videos, or shorter or more quick to the point videos, or whatever, I'm trying to figure out how to maximize the potential of what I can do with the channel. So feel free to also let me know if you have any ideas on that side of things. All right, I do want to play with the bouncy notes though. All right, number of voices. Lifetime is, I'm not sure what that is. That's how long they live for, I guess. More speed, more gravity, more mass. That is too much speed. And I want it to live longer. Is there a way to make it fade out instead of just stopping? We got a bounce over here. And for those of you guys who weren't here when I started, I have not played around with this Inspired by Nature spec yet, so I'm just kind of screwing around it just to see what would happen. Because I've had people ask me about it before, and I have not been able to answer them. I got another bounce over there. fade out. So that's what I want. Maybe. Pre-quantization, randomized direction. That's cool. A little too chaotic though. Can't keep it in tune. Voices. Does this have any info text to go with it? No. All right, let's turn the mask down. Let's get a little more friction going. I guess that'll freeze it. We'll filter through gain. I kind of want this to have a few more features built into it. That's cool though. Like, is there a way to keep this in key without just using like a scale device? Oh, there we go. This is what I'm looking for. Let's try a little E minor. Let's make it go the other direction. I don't think we need the range to go that high. And the starting point. Oh, cool. This is actually pretty dope. This is what I wanted. More bouncing. Welcome back, X. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on with my microphone. I think it's a YouTube issue and not a OBS issue or something like that. I'm not sure. But so far, I'm really digging this bouncy notes once I figured out there's the little keyboard option here. The drum rack option, I also really want to play around with in a minute once I see what else this can do. So this is the height, correct? Yeah. That's kind of cool. And this is which direction it goes relative to whatever note you're playing. That's pretty sweet. Got the range, got the starting point, that all makes sense. I don't know what these numbers mean. If anybody knows what the lifetime is how many bounces you're getting, I'm assuming, but I'm not sure why. What the timing of N versus B is. Yeah, they're pretty fun so far. They're like, it's like not the kind of thing that I'm gonna be like use as a go-to for music production all the time, but they're very much like, oh, I need to just like generate some goofy, weird shit, and I don't want to have to put all that work into it. This seems like a really fun way to just be like, cool, to like get some cool, weird, interesting, bouncy delays or whatever. You could do some like very John Cagey minimalist. I do want it to nicely fade out though. That's my big thing so far. This fade out seems like it only kind of works the way I want it to. I want it to like, to each one to like slowly fade away instead of just ending. So play with a large mass from a high distance. I like how the ball gets bigger when you make a larger mass. Let's pick up here. X, what kind of devices have you been using besides the other, the Dylan Bastion ones that are not in these packs? That's cool, it just generates notes for you. Yeah, the vector delay was the one that messed up my microphone, so I'm scared to use it again. But I will definitely try it again off stream and see what that does for me. Oh, too much gravity. Or just stuff in other packs. I'm always looking for like interesting Maxforlive stuff to play around with. That's pretty cool. Like, what would, if you put it in a drum rack, does it just do chromatically? Like, how does that work? Let's try it. Let's use the handy shaker rack. So if I play a bouncy note here in drum rack mode, I'm not really sure what drum rack mode does then. This is actually a lot of fun. Just like, if I just take an arpeggiator and put it up here. Yeah, all the devices that have been upgraded have been sick. All right, how to make this a little faster. That's actually kind of cool. What's up, Frenchtown? You took my advice. I appreciate it. I feel like this could be a lot of fun if I could randomize this a little bit more. Or if I just give me more randomization here. Oh, it's bouncing. Okay, so this is the bounce going up and down, and then a bounce left and right. And if you wrap it, does it go around? That's okay. That's what that means. Sick. Okay, so this is for the border here and the border here, and this will just delete it if it gets to the border, and this will randomize whether it wraps it, deletes it, or bounces it. That's really sick. Yeah, appreciate you stopping by. How you doing today? And we got a bounce where we can either wrap it when it gets to the bottom. Okay, so they fall to the bottom and then come back up top. So let me do this one at a time, instead of just bouncing on the actual thing itself. That's super cool. We're learning things, and if I wrap, it's just gonna hit the bottom and go back up to the top. And then randomizing it will randomize whether it bounces or goes up or down. Cool. Yeah, if you're like making some weird percussive stuff, this could work really well. That might be a little bit too much randomness. Let's go back to bounce, randomize the sides, make it go a certain direction. Let's go make it far in one direction. That'd be kind of cool. But I don't know what the difference between drum rack versus non-drum rack version is. Drum rack only like notes C1 to an up or something? Okay, so this one has the full range here, and this one it looks like is it only 16? 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this is just the 16 notes from C1 up. It's dope. All right, what if I just freeze it? Oh, this actually freezes it. It doesn't keep moving. So you can just pause it in midair if you want. Randomize the direction, sure. You can just turn this on auto. Interesting. I'm having fun with this. I'm kind of digging this. The bouncy notes. All right, let's go back to our piano. Off drum Mac mode. Can we put it in like a harmonic minor or something? I don't know. I think the freeze it's like a MIDI freeze. So it just freezes the whatever MIDI is coming through it. It doesn't actually freeze the audio because it has MIDI going in, MIDI going out. Yeah, I don't know where all you guys are located. I think XE said you're in Sweden, but we had snow here in Colorado till like last week, and then all of a sudden now it's like springtime. All right, I want more notes. All right, what if we do more reverb, and then if we toss on like some delay, I just want to make some like creepy. Yeah, I'm sure the weather in Montana is not too different from what we have got going on down here. This is gonna be my haunted house music. Yeah, in Colorado, like you get a false spring for like 2 weeks, and then it snows like 3 more times, and then you get your actual spring. Nice, we get some just purely generative music going on. I'm just gonna record this for 12 hours and then sample the best 2 minutes of it, and then there's my song. When you can quantize it. That's actually dope. I would totally use the vector delay with this because I think they would fit together really well. It's pretty nice down here. I'm kind of digging it. Anything else I can do with this that I haven't really explored? We got velocity controls mass, velocity controls gravity, friction. It's had a lot of friction. See what happens. Not as cool. This is super fun. All right, this might be my favorite new MIDI effect. It takes a little while to figure out what's going on. I don't know what this filter is though. This has got to be like a MIDI filter. Yeah, without the built-in scale feature, this is not that interesting. It's probably cool for like some weird, crazy stuff. Like you'd have to just like use the scale device afterwards to make it actually interesting. But this is pretty dope because it's built in. It's got some cool, interesting scales in here. Although they still have the word gypsy in here, even though they've gotten rid of the word gypsy on the push in every other place inside Alive. Yeah, I'm just super into just machines and tools that do all the work for me. So I can just sit here and like just let it play, and I tweak the machine until it sounds the way I want it to. Yeah, the programmers at Live, I know some people who work there, and they just love weird shit like this. Like I think it's kind of funny because at least in the United States, I feel like Ableton has a reputation for either being for like people who just make like really heavy dubstep or like really dark techno. That's like the two things that people kind of identify, or house music, I guess. But the people who actually make Ableton are like, they're into really weird shit. They're just really into like super experimental, out there, crazy, interesting sound design. Yeah, let's try getting the MIDI out of this and see what happens. I mean, I kind of know what's going to happen, but it'll be interesting to see what it looks like. Yeah, Hanky's the man. All right, so see how some of the notes are really long and some are really short? How do I get them to be random length, new length? Okay, I want less randomized length. No length auto, okay. Yeah, they love like weird stuff like granulator and like the pitch loop 86 or whatever the new one is. They're really into like that kind of experimental stuff. That was cool. Like that's like where they see the future of music being. It's like they see it in these like very out there esoteric styles of making music. Okay, so the last thing I need to figure out with this device that I have, yeah, the Pitch Loop 86 is based off of a really old piece of gear that Robert Henke loves that like nobody else really uses anymore, but he's super into it, so he just remade it. What do these numbers mean here? The N and the B. Are those supposed to be like quarter notes? And then what does the B mean? I have not read the manual for this, so I have no idea what's actually in here or what those actually mean. Because the more you do this, the info view doesn't have any info on here. It just says bouncy notes effect. Oh, this sounds dope. Always hit record. And now it's playing chords or multiple notes. Before it wasn't. Oh, I'm super digging this. I'm totally gonna make a track out of this. I thought it still was recording, but it wasn't. So this is shorter notes. These are longer notes. Sounds way better with longer notes, I feel like. To me, it has this very kind of like, you know, you're walking into Dracula's castle kind of feel to it, but that might just be me. That's a very fantastic question, Frenchtown. I have been teaching Ableton Live for a long time, and I've worked for a lot of different institutions, different schools, Ableton Certified Training Centers. I've written a lot of curriculums, done a lot of stuff over my time. And COVID, I was working at a school, I was running an Ableton school, and COVID really kind of changed a lot about how we could operate and made things very difficult. So I decided that instead of working for somebody else and having bosses, I would rather just do my own thing. And so the YouTube channel was kind of born out of me wanting to help people and to teach people and just share knowledge and information, while also just being able to do it on my own instead of having to rely on an institution or a company or that kind of support. So that's kind of why. And I had done videos for other channels before, but I wanted to have something that was my own, that was kind of like built from the ground up. And it's been a monumental learning curve just to kind of figure all the stuff out. But those are the main reasons, just because I wanted to, I don't know, if you want to exist in the kind of current COVID world, having an online presence is super important. And I'm not super into social media. I'm much more into kind of like community building and connecting with people through, I don't know, content and things like that. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been learning a lot about video editing. Like video is like very much not my area of expertise, so I'm learning a lot about that stuff. Yeah, Jay, I feel like this is great. I'm definitely gonna go back in here and just take all this stuff and loop a couple bits of it and make a track out of it. Interesting. Why did the velocity change? There's a lot more I need to learn about this device, because there's some things that are pretty straightforward and some things that like don't make any sense. So this spreads the notes out farther. This gets us more notes. This gets us, this is weird, gets us more notes if we go that way. That spreads them out that way. This gets us longer notes. This quantizes them. Quantizes the bounces. I'm not sure what's affecting the velocity. There's a velocity to number of balls, but we're getting velocity changes here, and I'm not sure why. Oh yeah, and if anybody else is in the chat, I'm just kind of hanging out making weird bouncy ball music. But if you have questions or things that you want to talk about, feel free to toss those in the chat. Because we have velocity affecting gravity, and we got velocity affecting mass, but what is generating the velocity itself? Is it how, oh, it's how high it goes. The higher it goes, the higher velocity it is. If I go down here, we're gonna get a lot lower velocities. That's cool. So not only does this control how long it bounces for, but it also controls the velocity, because the higher it bounces, the more velocity you're going to get. And with each bounce, it loses velocity. That's dope. Cool. I'm feeling very positive feelings about this device in general. I'm using the the K712s, the AKG K712s. I've had these for many, many years, probably 7 or 8 years at least, maybe 9 years, and they're pretty solid. And I've just been working with them so long, so I've gotten super used to them. They're pretty comfy. Some of the other AKGs I can't vouch for. I've heard mixed opinions about their quality, but the K712s have never really failed me. And when I got them, they were super on sale, so I didn't have to pay full price for them, which was nice. No worries, X. Do what you got to do. All right. Feeling pretty good about this device here. I got plenty of MIDI generated from it. So I have worked at a number of different places teaching Ableton. I used to work at a school called Pyramind in San Francisco. Those guys are dope, love them. I was actually a student there first, and then I became a teacher there, and then did a bunch of other stuff. And then for the last 4 or 5 years, I was working at a Ableton school here in Colorado called KMG. And I ran their Ableton program for a while. And then about 6 months ago, I decided to kind of do my own thing. And I've been doing freelance stuff and then focusing on doing stuff with Catalyze, which is my own thing that I just started. All right, I'm gonna try to dive into some of these other devices, and hopefully, again, it does not crash the audio, and if it does, I super apologize. What's that, X? Vector FM and vector grain. All right, so we got some granular stuff going on. Or we could just try this one. Let's grab a sample. I haven't tried the Amazing Devices stuff, but I know of it. Run transport to start playback. All right, let's turn this one off. In fact, we'll just go ahead and turn this off just in case. The music that I make, Frenchtown, is mostly kind of down-tempo experimental music, kind of like down-tempo bass music. Sometimes kind of dancey, sometimes more kind of ambient, but cinematic, weird experimental bass music is kind of my favorite style music. So this just, oh, this is dope. I don't know what's happening, but it's cool. All right, so some kind of granular sampler kind of thing. Okay, so we got grains here, we got force, we got friction. So that speeds up the grains, it sounds like. Yeah, you can check out my music. It's Xenotope, Zenotope on SoundCloud, although I haven't updated my SoundCloud in a very long time, or Spotify is probably the better place to hear it. So we got friction of the grains there, and we got number of grains here. That's kind of cool. So that responds to MIDI, it looks like. It's the spread of it. Yeah, check it out. Also, since I'm going to be just doing a random plug, I did also just start a Discord channel. I'm fairly new to Discord, and I think there's only members of the channel so far. If you want to check it out, I think it's in the video description, I think. Or you can also just look it up on the channel info for this channel, for Catalyze. Trying to get more kind of community-oriented stuff, community building, get people to talk to each other, help each other out, work together kind of thing. So if you're into that, feel free to check that out. All right, so this is like a granular sampler, but I don't know like what's going on here. So we can normalize it, we can change the loop. I don't know what this space is supposed to be for. It's like you can have two separate grains going on. And then I have no idea what this XY controller does, except for make things sound crazy. And if we put it in MIDI mode, it responds to MIDI. Kind of cool. Let me see if I can find like a vocal sampler or something to put in here. These are usually kind of fun to put in granular samplers. There we go. Cool, why didn't this happen before? And I don't know why this is there. All right, so this is our XY controller. Oh, here we go. I don't know why this didn't happen. Let's not turn on MIDI mode. Okay, so it's a granular spectral drone generator that can also respond to MIDI. Interesting. Yes, I do have push. I absolutely love my push. Use it pretty much every day. Is the stream right behind? It's always hard to tell how far behind the stream is with chat. Sometimes if you're behind, you can just hit refresh and that'll sometimes catch it up. I know YouTube's a little weird with streams like that. Okay, so we got... Cool, weird spectral granular thing. I definitely would like to do some push-centric content. I have two cameras right now. One is the really boring webcam that I'm using right now for the stream, and the other one is the nicer camera that I use for actually filming the videos. And I'm hoping to get a third good one, and that way I can have one good camera on me and another good camera on gear. But I'm working on that, and figuring out lighting for gear is also like a whole new ballgame for me. But that's definitely something I'd like to get into more. I've done a couple of, or I've done 2 videos on my modular stuff, and that was a pain in the ass to get it all to work, but I will definitely like involving both MIDI controllers and hardware. So I would love to do that some more often. But it's just the getting all the cameras set up and getting the lighting set up in a way that I'm really satisfied with is more difficult than I had hoped it would be. All right, so we got a grain control over here, we got an emit control over here, we got an XY controller, we control the space of the spectral analysis of this sample, and it randomly picks them. Okay, so we got a number of bursts, one at a time. We got grains here. So we have a number of grains, and we have the burst rate, it sounds like. So force pushes it around, and then friction. It more kind of smoothly goes versus jumping. Yeah, when I was first getting into modular, any info about anything was just super useful. And I think I'll make another video about like how to get started with modular if you're like thinking about investing and trying to figure out what you want to do. And that way, because there's a lot of like things you need to know beforehand that like make your life a lot easier. So I went through lots of iterations of planning out my modular rig before I actually bought anything. I think a video like that would probably be super fun to make and probably be pretty helpful. But it's really fun. It's a great way to take a break from the computer. I think I spend a lot of my day behind a screen, whether I'm like, you know, making stuff, making music or making videos or, you know, just being on the internet. And so having something that's not as screen oriented is really, really useful, I think, for me, just to kind of like deprogram my brain from screens a little bit. And the fact that it integrates with Live so well makes it super, super fun to play around with. All right, so this is the rate of our grains. These are slower grains, or slower bursts. Faster bursts down here. This is bursting them more at a time. This is the speed of them, it sounds like. Sounds like a bunch of cats singing together. This seems like a device to make some really strange noises. It's kind of terrible. This might not be the right sample for this kind of device. So lifetime is basically the length. Okay, that's good to know. And then skip percentage is, I guess, how much it jumps around. All right, and then what happens if I go over to green? We got a filter here. This thing is absolutely nuts. Oh, so we got like a fade in, fade out. Thanks, I appreciate it, Frenchtown. There we go. Let me get some like nice granular blurring. It's got way cooler now. All right. Turns out the blur control is what you need on this device. A little filter. We got a little pitch control. This is a really weird device. I like it. You could totally use this from like some like dark techno background. Interesting. That's another kind of fun one. Feels kind of weird talking about devices that I don't really know much about, because I'm used to just talking about ones that I spent a lot of time with. So hopefully this is entertaining for you guys as it is for me. French sound, for the most part, I do. I've had people help me out with my mixes. I've got a friend who I work with who mixes professionally, and so I usually will spend some time with him on some, but not all of my mixes, and then usually I will master them. But again, that's not always true. At different points in my life, I've had different people master stuff. I always end up hating my own mixes, though. It's like, you're like, you know, when you mix something, you spend so much time mixing it, and then you're like, I just can't even tell anymore. That definitely happens to me. Or like you hear things that nobody else hears in it. All right, let's try the vector grain here and see what happens. And again, I hope my audio. Why is that happening? Let's try that without anything. It's weird it kept the sample from the other device. That's very strange. Well, let's pick a different sample. Yeah, for real. If you like your own mixes, there's something wrong with you. Ooh, that's a terrible sound. Cool. Let's take this guy and toss it in here. All right, so we got an XY controller here that is not controlling this. We got one grain. It sounds like it's controlling the panning a little bit. Panning and what else? Okay, so you get multiple grains going on. So you can make little like drone guys with it. Speed them up a little bit. That's kind of cool. Oh, interesting. How do I stop this thing again? All right, so we got you can change what the vector controller does. This is awesome. So we got panning on left, right now, but we can change it to like reverse. And then we got filter frequency going up and down. I like that. We can change the amount here too. We got sample start going diagonally at a velocity, it looks like. Controls the gain. And then whatever this is, relationship to other balls maybe, is controlling the size of the grains, I guess. And when you click on it, it generates new dudes for you. And we got a filter right here. And we can add in. Damn, dude. This is cool. This Dylan Bastion guy really puts a lot of love into making these devices. Yeah, he's definitely he's got some ideas, this guy does. So you can change the relationship between the different balls and whether they attract each other or are attracted to a certain point. Yeah, I'm definitely going to probably after the stream check out how you can change the direction of the flow here. This is fascinating. After the stream, I'm going to download and check out some more of this other stuff, and then maybe stream next week. I'll dive into those. All right, what's happened to us? Why are we stuck? I'm gonna get us back to looping. I did something bad. All right, the real question is, can we macro map those guys? Sick. All right. Macro map this the other one. All right, it's too many grains. Yeah, I will definitely probably later this week or this weekend take a look at the other ones, the Markov one, and see what I can do with it. But I'm liking this stuff so far. Like if you were to take this and slap like a LFO or something on like the XY controllers. All right, this one is stuck over here, and I don't know how to make it unstuck. We got the filter there, we got the pitch, fade center, start percentage, the size. There we go, it's a little better. Yeah, French, thanks for popping by, I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you around soon sometime. can definitely do some like sci-fi alien stuff with this. I'm super digging this. I'm having a great time. All right, what does this do? You can set a spawn area. That sounds cool. You can change the mass and the charge. You get like a positive and negative charge. That's dope. And then you can clip them when they hit the end so they don't go off the edge, or you wrap them. Yeah, probably. What kind of music are you into? I've been finding that so far people in the chat for my channel have had impeccable taste in music, so that makes me very happy. So this is another granular burst emitter. That's pretty cool. By 90s braindance, you mean like IDM kind of stuff? There we go, get some glitchy stuff. Yeah, I never really listened to much house or techno until the last couple of years. I've been finding a lot more like a weird experimental house that actually like I'm really digging. Nice. Yeah, I grew up on a lot of like Venetian snares, Aphex Twin, that kind of thing. Autechre, however you say it. Nobody knows how to say it, I guess. What's up, Stan? How's it going? All right, let's change the size back here a little bit. Nice. Like I said, the people in chat have had great taste in music. All right, let's turn the burst generator off. Trying to figure out how to get the length back up where it's supposed to be. This one's weird. This one is like, I feel like a lot of these devices you have to really like get the settings just right in order to make it sound good. And there's a lot of space in between those things sounding good that's just kind of not that interesting. But once you get that like perfect combination of all these different like parameters in different parts, like the emitter and like playing with the charge and the attractor and the flow field, once you get that all kind of going, then they sound amazing. But understanding how to do that, I think, is mostly just like furious knob turning to make it sound the way you want, and then realizing that you went too far with your knob turning, and then having to like pull it back a little bit. But I'm having a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to want to read the manual for these devices. Yeah. Is there the the lesson for it, inspired by nature. Does it give us any good info in here? This is like, I should probably make a video about this because a lot of people don't know about this. If you right click on almost all of the packs, they have a lesson. Like when you install the pack, the lesson pops up, but then once you hit close, people don't know that that lesson is still there. So if I wanted to like learn more about a lot of these different devices, I can go in here and it'll give me some basic stuff, although this part seems super basic. So emit, 2D spectrogram. Yeah, this is not quite as good as a manual, unfortunately, but it's got some info. This might help me out if I ever like wanted to do a workshop on these devices or a video and talk about them a little bit more. I was hoping for a little bit more in-depth documentation. Maybe he has on his website or something. But I'm definitely going to, oh, we did? I'm definitely going to check out his YouTube videos, but I'm gonna make a track or two out of these because I feel like I got a pretty good sense of how they work. I'm like mostly kind of figuring stuff out just by tweaking knobs. But there's a few things that having some documentation on would make my life way easier. But this sounds really cool. The bouncy notes, 100%, I'm going to use all the time. That's like a really sick device. And it's probably the easiest of any of the ones I've tried so far. Tree tone's cool, but I'm trying to think of a situation where the tree tone would actually really be like relevant in production. Yeah, I'm hoping the Inspired by Nature stuff's on there, on his YouTube channel. Emit was kind of cool. Vector FM I haven't tried out yet. And then Vector Delay is the one that messed up my microphone for the stream. So I will definitely try out Vector Delay. It's probably very similar to the Vector Grain in terms of what it does, but it's a delay. So this one I actually did play around with a little bit before. It seemed really fun. But overall, I'm kind of digging these devices. When there's presets. Ooh, and it has samples, so you can just have pre-made samples to toss in here. I like the way this one sounds, but what happens if we put like an upright bass in here? That's kind of cool. Yeah, you pair them up with like some reverbs and delays, and then you just get accidental magic all the time, which I am into. All right, I want to play with the start time. How do I get the start time to be more different? It's too much. That's kind of cool. Can we just reverse the whole thing? Slow the speed down. It's kind of cool. There we go. There's my intro for my ambient album. Love it. All right, that is decided. This device is dope. The fact you can just toss a sample and make it sound like this is very, very impressive to me. Yeah, I am super into that. Really liking that one a lot. Let's try the last one I haven't tried, which is the Vector FM. And again, if anybody's out there who's just kind of chilling and watching, feel free to chime in to the chat if you have any questions about any of these devices or anything else that has nothing to do with these as well. Who makes Slink? All right, so this is just the same thing, but it's an FM operator, it looks like. Then we can change the routing. And right now it's fixed frequency. But it always generates sound whether this track's playing or not, which is kind of annoying. So we got panning, we got hertz, we got volume, we have the FM index, we have filter and hertz. It can be synced or unsynced. How do I set this to be in a particular scale? The sine wave. If I hit lock it. Nope. We got modulator info in there. This is the same, this is the same. Cool, yeah, I will definitely keep an eye out for that. I feel like there's a bunch of really cool Maxforlive devices that are kind of on their way or have been released recently. Like people are like really starting to like get deep into doing stuff with it. All right, so we can have multiple voices, but it's all one operator versus having, oh, this links two of them together and you can see it. That's pretty cool. Feeding back into themselves. All right, I like that. Like, I don't know what I'd use this for, but it's kind of cool. This, I figured when I turn the lock off, it still makes that sound. A lot of the spectral stuff really kind of weirds me out because I'm so used to like understanding the technology behind how a lot of these synths work, and then spectral synthesis and like spectral analysis and processing is like it's pretty intense. And nice, so it's going to be part of an official live pack, which would be great. All right, so we got the carrier, we got a modulator here. So make them both saws or whatever, and tune them here. All right, I mean, everything in this pack needs delay to sound good. I love how you can see how they connect together. That's really cool. I want to figure out how to get this tuning button to work. Where's the behavior where I can make it wrap around? That's what I want. I want it to wrap. Too much. It's too much. Yeah, this one you gotta like really keep track of because it'll get like really intense real fast. That's cool. They change carrier and modulator relationships based off of their positioning. Man, FM synthesis is complicated enough without adding like a 3D spatial element to it. I wonder if there's like people popping into the stream who are like, oh, this sounds terrible. Why would I want to watch this? Nice. I think the other vector one to me feels like it has a lot more kind of like actual practical application to it. I feel like this might be good for kind of like weird, goofy background sounds. It kind of sounds kind of like somebody going crazy on like a K oscillator, where they're like moving around and like just generating weird noises that way. I don't know if it's my favorite noise out there, but I can totally get behind this on occasion. But vector grain, I think vector grain and the bouncing notes are the clear winners of this pack, I think. Yeah, this is weird FM squiggles are an acquired taste for sure. Like if we could like I just need to figure out what is the magic button that I need to hit to get to the scales control to work, because I think that will actually make it work a little better and sound a little more normal, but no matter what I hit, it doesn't seem to do that. Or maybe it is working, it's just gray? No. That's kind of cool. You like tone that down. Some like weird glitchy stuff with it. There's definitely some like, again, like you find the magic series of settings on this thing, and I think you got a really dope sound going. Otherwise, you're just making really weird noises forever. But I can get behind some of this. Yeah, that definitely could get annoying real fast though. I like how you can see the kind of relationship between all of them. Here's my Inspired by Nature track. I actually did make a track that sounded a lot like this at one point, but without that part. Yeah, shit it. I'm just gonna resample that, and that's my first track of my next album, which I think would be not too out of character for me. But I really like these two. I'm actually gonna save this and then probably go back in and make it hopefully actually sound good. Where did I put my stream stuff? What's today's date? 27th? What am I going to call this track? Oh man, naming tracks is by far my least favorite part about making music. I always like struggle and I anguish over making finding names for something after I've like spent a bunch of time working on it, because I want the name to be perfect, and then it never is. But I'd probably just call this, IBN or something as a homage to the beautiful inspiration. Which two sounds am I using? I'm using the bouncy notes here into grand piano into a delay, and then the vector grain with the LFO on it. Yeah, just do a couple more layers of that vector grain on there with like different weird samples, and you're pretty much good to go. Well, I feel like I learned a lot today. Yeah, it's the vector grain and the bouncy notes, and then I have the vector FM, but this does not fit the vibe of the rest of it. Yeah, I definitely learned a lot. Now, if somebody asks me a question about these devices, I at least kind of know what's going on, at least mostly. I'm definitely going to look up Dylan Bastian's YouTube channel and see if I can get more inside scoop about a few other questions I have. But I think these have a lot of potential. And I think that right now, just in terms of workflow and what I like doing, these are right up my alley. I just don't want to, I want to know how a device works. And so if I want it to sound a certain way, I can get it there. But I also want the device or the synthesizer or the machine to do a lot of the work for me, and I just kind of guide it along its way until I get something I like. And then that's my idea for my track. I think it's a super fun workflow. I think that like just generating a bunch of MIDI like this and then, finding those sweet spots of like whatever this is, and then like that's your track, or the start of your track, is super, super fun. And this works really well for this. All of these devices work really well for that kind of workflow. So I'm super into that. X, I appreciate you kind of, yeah, thanks for being part of this experiment. I don't know if anybody else was here or into it at all, but at least it had somebody else to kind of like check it out. Feel free to let me know if you want to share any of your tracks. I am doing song feedback stream on Fridays. If you want to come around for that and share some stuff you're working on, get some feedback on it. Or you can also just pop in the Discord channel and put your track in there, and I'll take a listen to it. And I apologize about the mic not working earlier. I don't know what was going on there. At some point, I probably should play around with some of these presets, but honestly, I don't like using other presets. Though for some of these, it might be really useful. But the tree tone presets are probably really helpful, because the tree tone to me is just kind of strange, and it might be nice to have some guidance in terms of how I get there. Sweet. Well, I think at that point, I'm probably gonna call it for the evening. Go grab some food. But again, X, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out, and hopefully I will see you around soon, or see you around again at another one of these streams, or in the Discord, or wherever in the future. I never know how to end streams. It's like such a weird, awkward thing to do, especially since chat is like 45 seconds to a minute behind me. So yeah, thanks, and I will see you again sometime. Yeah, that's probably a smart move. The internet is a waste of time. Don't spend too much time on here. But if you are around, stop by and say hi. All right, stream end.